I'm now allowed to discuss a little bit about reports and how TSM handles reporting. There are two aspects to the reporting. One is the actual physical ability to produce a report, filtering data in whatever way we want. And the other part of it is actually how we control the layout of the report that we end up seeing. So if I just look at the simplest reporting that we have in TSM, if I simply print this job card to the screen, this is a report. It goes through our report engine in whatever format it is. It looks like this. If I was to go and print it to the screen again, but choose a different report layout, it looks completely different, and so on. So we have the ability to set up different layouts of reports and print them to the screen. But that's not really reporting, that's more printing as such. So let's go look in reporting. So if I go into reports, we have every module broken down here in terms of different reports for those modules. If I go to job card reports, this is our reporting screen here, and it's got three logical sections. The first section is our filter, defining the criteria by which we want to filter the results. We have module-specific settings that we can set on those on the report, and then we have saved report criteria down here that we can reuse over and over again. So I don't know if I've got anything in here that's reasonable billable jobs. Let's see what that is. So what this is saying is we have job completed date is greater than that. I could have just said is not empty. So it has a completed date, and the job total is not equal to 0. So this would be billable jobs, and I probably should add on here, and the invoice number is 0 because it hasn't got an invoice raised against it. And we'll say the job invoiced is false. Okay, so it's got a dollar value, it's completed, but it's not been invoiced. And then I can go and save that as a new setting, which is billable uninvoiced. And if I go then and print that to the screen, so then the next thing I need to do is choose the layout of the report there. So I can choose detail or summary reports, detail of the 1 pages, like the job card or whatever, and I want a summary report, and I can choose which layout I want. I'll just choose financial summary here because that kind of makes sense. And then I can go and print that to the screen. There's a lot of data in here. And so here's a report, which is basically job card financial summary report, non-invoiced, job completed date is not empty, and job invoice is false, and job total is not equal to 0. So you see the criteria, and then job number, customer, and we've got our parts, our labour, our delivery fees, our service fees, our tax, our total. Obviously nothing's been invoiced yet, so that's all blank. Nothing's been paid because it's not been invoiced, and there's nothing owing yet because it's not been invoiced yet, and so on. So we create our filters up here, and the filters use what we call Boolean logic, ands and ors. Takes a little bit of getting used to learn how that works, but it then becomes very powerful in terms of constructing a filter that can do very precise things. We have other things in here which I won't go into too much detail on, except to say that if I jump out of here and go into our debtors reporting, and if I did a report out of here, what have we got on here? Let's say we've got no, it doesn't really matter. I don't really need to filter it. I can go and print this, do a detailed, okay, I can do a debtors report where the printed date is blank, where the email, let me see, invoice printed date is blank, or is empty, which means we haven't actually sent these invoices out yet. And then what I can do is I can go and print that to the screen. And it's going to go and do a whole bunch of invoices, and there's one after the other. Invoice, 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 invoice. Okay? Doesn't help me much. What I might like to do though is bulk email them to our customers. Okay? So under normal situations, I would have to filter this to customer A and then go and print to email, and then filter it to customer B and print to email, and so on. That's very laborious. But in our enterprise product, we have the ability to do bulk emailing. So to do bulk emailing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to email the billing customer here, and it won't be one invoice per email, it'll be bulk together. We'll include an email template, and we can have various email templates which basically set up the body of the email. We can mail merge in their names and their outstanding balance and all that sort of stuff. It doesn't really matter what email template I choose. I won't choose any. And then I can go and print this out. Now, it says, warning, you're about to do an email run, are you sure? And what this is going to do, I'll say no. I did say, oh, it's going to print it now, that's okay. And so what it's going to do is it's going to consolidate together for the first customer all their unprinted invoices and send them out. And the second customer, send it out as one email with multiple attachments, or one attachment with multiple pages on that particular email. So typically what I would do is I'd put a date range in there. I'd do this weekly, give me all the invoices for this date range, and then go and bulk email that to everybody. Very nice feature. A lot of people like that in the enterprise space. It's bulk email invoice, bulk invoice emailing. Not everybody has that feature. That's kind of the reporting module. When we get into customizing reports, I can go into my setting up reports. This is not for the faint-hearted. It is a technical tool. It's not designed for users to just get in there and do it. It's very powerful. We've addressed that in version 7 of TSM, but in this version, it's low. So if I take the invoice, for example, I can go and customize the invoice, and yeah, you can go and move fields around. You can drop into fields. You can go look at the expression that field relates to, and we can format it and style it and put conditions on when it prints, or do sums and counts and averages and all this sort of stuff that you'd expect to have in a report writer. We can do here. If I did a summary report, so that's easy for you to see. It's a bit easier to summary report. It doesn't look like a summary report. Summary report. Oh, it's the wrong section. We don't have summary invoices, so if I go into reports, set up that. Okay, detailed age debtors, for example. So this gives you a better idea of what it is. You have our columns, and so we've got our title, our page headers, then we can have grouping, group headers. So that'd be like the customer details, and within that then we would have the detail, which would be each invoice for that customer. Then we would have our subtotals, and then our grand totals at the bottom, and so on. And you can move fields around, you can make them wider, you can do whatever. But unless you know what you're doing, you don't come into here, sort of thing. But every single report is customizable in our report generator. I'd much rather give them a complicated report writer than have what I had yesterday at a client where they complain that they want to ditch a competitor's product because every time they want to change the layout of a report, they have to go back to the supplier to go and make the change for them. Right? So you can actually make the changes in here. So that's reporting. While I'm on the topic of report filters, if I just go back into the job center, doesn't work. Oh, let's cancel that. Let's that again. If I go back into the Job Centre, we have exactly the same concept with filtering as we have with report filters. So if you remember the filters I said you put up here, or to remember the one we created down here, which was for today's jobs unallocated, that's the same thing. You go into the filters and you can go and create your filters for the Job Centre in exactly the same way as we did for the reporting, and then reuse those filters. So that's the concept of filtering. And that's probably the guts of reporting. We have some other nice little bits of reporting. We have what's called My Reports, and My Reports is a nice way of consolidating in one place your common reports that you use on a daily basis from all the different parts of TSN, and then launching them from here. So rather than having to go for your job card report to go into reports, job cards, bring it up, find your saved expression, print, whatever, you just simply add that report into your My Reports, and then you just click on it here and say run now.
It'll automatically add?
No, you have to manually go. And you go and you say new, for example, and you say from the jobs module here, I will choose this saved report here, whatever it was, and then put them in like so. If you have the enterprise version, we can additionally put in a scheduled date and time and frequency, and then automatically produce reports. For example, Monday morning at 9 o'clock, automatically the timesheet summary for the previous week could be emailed to the manager, or a job summary could automatically be emailed to the customer from the previous week's work, or whatever it happened to be. So Enterprise lets you automate these reports as well through a scheduling type facility. So that's the reporting modules in TSN.